Gon' kick it off then. Whoa. Gon' kick it off then. It ain't a game, kick it off then. Whoa. So gon' kick it off then. Huh? What we talking about, it goes deep.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. You're tuned into SHESP in the network. This is another episode and another season of WTF Too, Women Talk Football 2. I'm Latasha Miles, aka Joan Madden, the Gridiron Goddess, and I am accompanied by my beautiful, talented, amazing, and charismatic co-host. Let the good people know who you are.
What's up, good people? Let me tell you, I feel like it has been forever since I've been able to see everybody. Oh man, listen, it is so much that we have to talk about today. But first, let me put in my plug. I did what I said I was gonna do. I put my feet out there. I got this started. Listen, all the subscribers, please go and follow Blogs with Shalika, where I'm talking about all the things that you should like to talk about and want to care about. And I have just been a busy little bee from starting my own little kind of homestead, growing my own little chickens and animals and farmery type things, and growing my own kind of vegetation and stuff like that. And just things that are going on in the world and life and all these things. So that's my plug for the moment. But other than that, you know, I've been keeping up with the sports and life has been happening. A lot has been happening in the football world, and we got to talk about it. Listen, I texted Tasha last week, and I was like, look, I know free agency is not over, but we got to do something because there's too much happening. I cannot not do, we got to do something. So, Of course, we had to get back together, and we had to give you one for today. We had to give y'all something. Y'all had to hear from us.
Absolutely. And you're right. I mean, it's been a hiatus due to the fact that, Super Bowl ended. But free agency is jumping like double dutch. So you're absolutely right. We definitely had to reunite in the midst of our projects, and of course, you taking off with your thing with the vegetation and got ourselves our own. Old McDonald had a farm going on. Old McCrimmon had a farm. So yeah, doing your thing there. So good stuff, absolutely. So and you guys make sure you definitely follow Blogs with Shalika and keep up with what the Touchdown Tomboy is doing aside and in addition to football. So many layers there. You're like an onion. Several layers to you there.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Keep peeling me back, baby.
Absolutely. Keep peeling you back. Indeed. So let's kick it off with the first quarter here. A huge blockbuster trade took place as the speedster, the cheetah, the former Super Bowl champion and 6-time Pro Bowler, Tyreek Hill, was traded to the Miami Dolphins. Very unexpected there. And the most unexpected part of this trade is it was for a whopping 5 picks. So T squared, why did this trade happen and who won?
Okay. So let me tell you this. Okay. First of all, this trade happened for numerous reasons. All right. So I had to do a little digging because, it wouldn't be a Touchdown Tomboy if I didn't tell y'all the stats and the back behind the whole thing that was going on. First of all, they offered a lot for Tyreek Hill. So I had to dig because I wanted to see, because people said 5 draft picks. Let me tell you what those 5 draft picks were, because I wanted to know myself. So I'm going to tell you straight up, Kansas City definitely won this deal, okay? They gave Kansas City 5 draft picks. Let me tell you what those 5 draft picks were. They gave them the one first rounder this year, the second first rounder for this year, and a 4th rounder also for this year.
It's crazy.
All of those things were for this year. And then they turned around and gave them a 4th rounder for next year and a 6th rounder for next year, all for Tyreek Hill, who's at the end of his 3-year, $54 million contract. And we all know running back / hybrid wide receivers, they don't usually last past 31 to 32 years, depending upon injury. So he's looking like he's starting to be at the end of his career. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, the Chiefs already didn't have a lot of cap space. So before the whole Tyreek Hill thing and the Joe Thuney restructuring, before that they only had $2.7 million in cap space, right? Letting Tyreek Hill go and restructuring Joe Thuney, they were able to basically give themselves an additional $26.2 million in cap space. Look like the Kansas City Chiefs won that deal to me, baby.
I agree with you. On a more personal note, Tyreek Hill also won this because he's got a 4-year, $120 million contract and 72
And
million
70 something million is guaranteed.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, he also won too because he's getting away from Patrick Mahomes' brother and Chiefs newly acquired receiver Juju Smith-Schuster and all the TikTok antics that'll probably come from that. Also, he got away from Patrick Mahomes' wife. So these are like a little bit more personal, a little bit petty as well. But those were bonuses for Tyreek Hill getting up out of Kansas City.
Hold on.
Now,
Side note, we may not even have to worry about Tyreek Hill even getting injured or hit, because the question is can Tua even give him the ball? But that's another side story. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Very true. Yeah, the production will probably drop, but also now the Chiefs, they've clearly already moved on because they replaced him with a guy who's very much injury prone. Then we got Packers former receiver Valdez Scantling. Not sure if that's I don't think that that's a lateral move there, but I mean, obviously they're trying to hurry up and get over that hangover and get out of the news of no longer having Tyreek Hill. But I don't like the addition for that. So I think Kansas City loses with that part of it. Going back to Tyreek Hill, an additional win for him is now that if you've seen the aggressive moves that the AFC West has made, it looks like that window was closing on a Kansas City Chiefs team who has been to 4 back-to-back consecutive AFC Championship games. There could be a mix-up with that this year, even coming out of the division. So it looks like the window was closing to the AFC West, and Tyreek Hill, of course, is going to a little bit more diluted, a little bit more weaker AFC East. So good for him, too, and kind of getting out of that division in a timely manner. So, yeah, I definitely think that all those were wins for him. But those days of going to 4 consecutive AFC Championship games, they're definitely over. Like you won't see that again, not with this Miami team who's going into the season with a new coach, who, by the way, it's Mike McDaniel, a first-time head coach, and you just left Andy Reid, who has went to 8 championship games, both with the Eagles and the Chiefs. So that definitely was a decline there for Tyreek Hill on a more personal note. There's a lot of uncertainty going on with Miami. How are they going to move on past all the Brian Flores debacle? What's going to happen with the owner, Stephen Ross, and just all of the flashlights and spotlights that are on the Miami Dolphins. So you're going into a very interesting, unstable, questionable situation here with the Miami Dolphins. By the way, with you no longer playing with Mahomes, you're going to Tua, who we don't know how long he's going to be on the field either. And those dink and dunk plays, those little screens that, Mahomes waiting to the very, very last second before he passes the line of scrimmage of passing the ball to, and you just take it off for doing your thing, that type of play calling, gone, flush down the toilet. Tua does not have the potential to do that. And I know Tua was able to stretch the field with Alabama and when he had Ruggs and those guys, but you're playing with a completely different quarterback, a totally different playbook. Those moves I do not like for Tyreek Hill. Miami lost this trade with giving up 5 picks. So it was essentially Miami gave up 5 picks for basically every Pro Bowl appearance that Tyreek Hill had except for one. They basically matched his Pro Bowl appearances. So you mean to tell me this guy is worth a draft pick for every one of his Pro Bowl appearances? I don't know. I don't think that he was worth. Very talented receiver, hybrid, very versatile, very fast. But I just don't think that he was worth 5 picks. It seemed very desperate, very needy. And this is, again, a Miami team who's trying to, I get that you're trying to make a splash, pun intended, but this ain't it, baby. This new coach and all the stuff that's been going on last year, this was too deep of a splash. I say you should let the Jets just do what they were going to do and let them head down with it, because this is just a little bit too rich for Miami. So overall, I definitely think Tyreek won this personally, financially. Don't think he won it career-wise as far as going to the new team. Definitely think the Chiefs won, like you said, with the how much cap space and stuff they freed. I think they lost a talented player, and I don't like who they replaced them. And I don't think that Miami won. I can't find any wins at all for Miami on this one.
Here's the thing that's interesting about this, for this whole Miami thing, right? If you look at what Flores had already had the defense on fleek, right? Because they were playing in that cover zone, right? So the biggest issue with that defense was their quarterback and their offensive line, right? This would have been the draft to get the offensive line. And Miami, from what I remember, they were supposed to have 2 first-round picks. This would have been the opportunity for them to shore up their offensive line to protect their so-called investment into it, if that's who you're saying is your guy. Because
Right.
this when they had the offensive lineman. So I'm like, what are you doing? You could have gotten a receiver in the second round, because if you can protect him, guess what? He can stay in the pocket longer and you can throw it to darn near anybody. So the thought process in Miami is like, what are y'all doing? Like, I don't understand it. It was crazy. It was nuts. So Kansas City definitely won that trade. Miami definitely lost, and Tyreek Hill got a bag.
Absolutely. He definitely secured the bag on that one. Moving along to the second quarter as we discuss the free agency moves that have taken place, and we'll dig a little bit deeper and go to the signal caller positions. The frenzy that started when Tom Brady announced his unretirement and cut the party short and decided to return to the NFL with the Bucs. Aaron Rodgers surprisingly remained with the Packers. Not sure who he's going to throw the ball to next year, though, but nonetheless, he is with the Packers. Russell Wilson traded to the Broncos, Mitch Trubisky to the Steelers, Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders. Got to get used to saying that. Matt Ryan to the Colts, Marcus Mariota to the Falcons, Jameis Winston back with the Saints coming off the injury, Deshaun Watson to the Browns. I mean, my goodness, this is probably one of the most, if not the most active free agent periods I've seen in a long time at the quarterback position alone. So touchdown time, boy, who made the best move at quarterback and who made the worst move at quarterback?
So here's the thing. I know that most people would say the Browns made the best move, but because of the issue with the still outstanding grand jury case,
right,
other outstanding case that has not been settled, I'm not necessarily sure on that, because that might cause some issues in his contractual agreement later on that may void this whole thing from my understanding, right? So my jury has to say in the interim, I can't 100% say the Browns because it's just too many things tied to that, right? Because it's just a messy situation. Like if he was free and clear, no more cases, then I'd say yes, the Browns probably won this deal because Deshaun, we know he can ball. But the problem is that now he still has another case that's outstanding, and that case is tied to this contract and how legitimate this contract remains. So that's a whole nother ball game, and it's got a lot of verbiage in there that's going to cause a whole lot of issues with terms of how this money is paid, if he'll even pay, and we might start over with this whole situation again next year. It just depends, right? So without that being said, I think that the best quarterback position outside of the Broncos getting Russell Wilson, and the reason why I said Broncos and Russell Wilson, but I feel like that's a known one, because I've already told you that when you think of the Broncos already had all the pieces, which was why they were willing to give up so much for Russell Wilson, because they understood we already got the receivers, we already got a pretty good defense, we just don't have a quarterback, and they understood that, and so they were willing to give up some draft capital because they understood that's what they needed, because they already had Cortland Sutherland and them boys, and they already had Jerry Jeudy, and they could ball. You know what I mean? And the defense was already okay. You know what I'm saying? Could hold their own. They just never had that solid quarterback that could take them up in trajectory. And so Russell Wilson, I think by default, hey, they're contenders now, because Russ gonna let them cook, okay, as they like to say, right? But I got a couple people that I think may be sleepers. So my sleeper is let me tell y'all, my sleeper is, honestly, I'm gonna say I got two sleepers. My first sleeper is gonna be Mitchell Trubisky and the Steelers. And let me tell y'all something. A lot of people blame what happened with Mitch Trubisky on Mitch Trubisky. But I'm not convinced that it was all Mitch Trubisky as much as it was Matt Nagy. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I saw what Matt Nagy did to Justin Fields this year. And we know that Justin Fields was supposed to be leaps and bounds higher, and his ceiling was a lot higher than Mitch Trubisky. And you saw how he made him look.
Right.
So,
I mean, low key Nick Foles too. Low key Nick Foles too.
He is like, he will damage a quarterback if you can damage him, right? Yeah. So I think that Mitch Trubisky was given a bad rep because of who he was working with. Right. And so I think that if there's any salvaging with this whole situation, Mike Tomlin's the guy to do it. And so I got them as being my sleeper pick this year with the Steelers. And I think we're going to see, and then that whole year being with Josh Allen, it's impossible to be with Ken Dorsey. You know, I think Ken Dorsey's the man, okay? Exactly. You know how I feel about Ken Dorsey, okay? Because see, one time is luck, but when you can transform a quarterback type, so let me give y'all a little bit of history. Ken Dorsey is the same quarterback coach that transformed Cam Newton to make Cam Newton the Cam Newton that took y'all to the Super Bowl in 2015. This is the same quarterback coach in his MVP season. This is the same quarterback coach that they took to Buffalo, that took the same Josh Allen who had mechanics issue and all that stuff. He took him to Buffalo, and now you see the Josh Allen you see today. So when you see it one time, you might say it's a fluke, but you see it more than once, no, they know what they're doing. And so it's impossible to see Ken Dorsey be paired up with Josh Allen and some of that not rub off on Mitch Trubisky. Absolutely. It's impossible. So because of that, I'm expecting to see some altitude changes for him, and for him to be able to excel and to show some progress as a quarterback. And he's one of my sleepers. And the other sleeper that I have, honestly, is Matty Ice, baby. I think the change for Matty Ice is going, because you got to think, the Colts were a lot like the Broncos.
Right, missing a quarterback.
They were just missing a quarterback. Always had a good offensive line. They've always had receivers. You know what I'm saying? They've always had a good defense with Darius Leonard and them boys, but they always just needed a quarterback. And one thing we knew that Matty Ice could do is Matty Ice could throw that ball. The question could one thing that Matty Ice got a bad rep for is you got to know that in the last couple of seasons, Matty Ice ain't had much in Atlanta to work with.
That's true.
So when y'all say his numbers are down, who did he have to throw to last year beside Kyle Pitts?
Right, because Julio was gone to Tennessee.
And my other guy, he was out for mental health, and now he's suspended.
Oh, yeah, that's suspended. That's right. Calvin Ridley.
Right, Calvin Ridley. So who Matty Ice was throwing to? Because the year before, Matty Ice had like at least 4,500 yards.
Right.
So, and they were on the verge of the playoffs that year, because I actually think they were in a wild card. So I think Matty Ice, if you put them in a good situation, you're going to see something. And it's not like their offensive line was the best, but now you're taking them to a team where they're known to have a good offensive line. So I'm expecting to see some pretty good work from Matty Ice this year. I think it's a really good situation for Matty Ice. And I'm going to just say, just because Matty Ice is old, like I told my husband, he was like, we got Matty Ice. I told him, I said, honey, let me tell you something. You should be excited about this, because Matty Ice is a great upgrade from Carson Wentz.
Definitely.
He's an amazing upgrade. And I said, y'all actually will probably go to the playoffs this year. I said, matter of fact, take a picture, quote me on it. Y'all will go. I said, FC is stacked, but I'm believing y'all will go. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking at that team, and I'm thinking if they get them a couple of receivers, maybe one or two receivers, they already got a decent defense, and they won far last year. They just didn't have a quarterback that could do it for them.
Right.
But I think Matty Ice will be the guy to do it for me. So, and then of course you can't ever count Tom out, even though I just think that Tom is back, but I just don't think it'll be the same. Just because when he comes back and he says, oh, I'm retired, but I'm not retired, and all that playing and stuff like that, I think it just rubs people the wrong way. So I just think that although he's back, it'll be fun to watch for a little while, but I think that ultimately he'll probably just go back out again at the end of this season, probably. So, but
I think
those are my picks.
Yeah, I think so too. The crazy part though about Tom Brady coming back at the age of 44, not even so much just what he could do on the field, just the kind of domino effect that it created. Just the his name rung bells because his announcement, look what it did to the rest of the NFC South. Like it sent all three of those teams, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Falcons were all in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. Like, okay, Tom Brady's back. Like, there's not uncertainty of the quarterback position anymore with the Bucks because nobody was trusting Glennon. Like nobody was trusting Glennon to back up the back. Okay, we know it's not gonna be him, but we don't know who it's gonna be. Jameis Winston came up in the conversation, possibly going back to Tampa, but the uncertainty was there. We all know what Tom Brady is capable of. We all know what Tom Brady does on the field. So that put the fear of God in the rest of the NFC South, and everybody started just goose chasing, like, well, what we gonna do? Brady, like the fact that Brady has decided 1 month later that, you know what, no, I don't want to be around my kids and my wife no more. They getting on my nerves. I just want to get tackled by some 300-pound linemen again. That really sent the whole NFC South in a frenzy. So everybody started going after Deshaun Watson. And like you were saying about Deshaun, he still got the pending cases. Yeah, we don't know when Deshaun may or may not even be on the field because he might get some type of suspensions like Ben had before with the civil suits. So who knows? He might not even be out there week 1. But I do think though, because of what Tom Brady, his impact, and also Deshaun Watson's impact, I think that those are still wins, like for both of those organizations. I honestly thought that Watson was going to go to Pittsburgh because he's been retired, and then just the Brian Flores factor. And then I thought that he was going to go to the NFC South. But my goodness, he definitely pulled the wool over our eyes and went to Cleveland, which of course has caused Baker Mayfield to want to trade. So the effects from both of these quarterbacks and what it done to other teams, that's an indication to me that Cleveland won as well. Of course, pending when Watson's going to come out and actually play. Will it be week 1? Will it be week 4? Will it be week 8 or 9 or whatever? And then just seeing how Brady just had everybody kind of on a chokehold and trying to figure out what they're going to do about the quarterback. I think those were the two stronger moves. Oh, even OBJ said he might consider coming back to the Browns now that Watson's back. So yeah, that holds weight to me too. I agree with you on the sleeper pick about Trubisky going to Pittsburgh. The Matt Nagy thing kind of stalling him kind of reminds me of how like Jeff Fisher was a quarterback killer. Look what Jeff Fisher did to Vince Young. Look what Jeff Fisher did to Jared Goff and even Nick Foles as well. And Matt Nagy's very, very similar, borderline copy and paste with his situations with quarterbacks. I was very surprised that Aaron Rodgers did stay with Green Bay because like that relationship, Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay, that relationship just seems like it has been very toxic and damaging even before Matt LaFleur, Coach Carr, and my Health and Skelter voice got there. I mean, it was bad with Mike McCarthy. It was bad with Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers was following behind Brett Favre. This relationship just seems very like it's never going to be repaired, like a very draining relationship. So money out the window. I was really surprised that Aaron Rodgers returned, and plus because Nathaniel Hackett went to Denver, that's his guy. And then Denver needed a quarterback. I really thought that Aaron Rodgers was going to move on either to Denver or his beloved 49ers, who have some quarterback questions as well. The thing about Russell Wilson, I do like that he's with the Broncos, but I just hate that they got Russell Wilson so late in his career. Like we saw what Russell Wilson and the Seahawks did to the Broncos years ago in that Super Bowl. I wish they would have got that Russell Wilson fresh off of that Super Bowl, the Legion of Boom days where he was virtually untouchable. I like the move. Russell Wilson, this is a different Russell Wilson now. He's running around behind a bunch of kids now. So in addition to on the field, he's a lot of running around off the field too with the knees, running around the kids, chasing the kids, crawling around the kids. I don't know, this is a different Russell Wilson, a little bit older, a little bit declined, but he definitely needed a fresh start. And I definitely think that regardless of his age, he's going to be a very, very bonus type upgrade for Denver at the quarterback position. But the crazy thing is too, it's like as soon as Russell Wilson went to the AFC West, so did some of the best defenders. Like Chandler Jones is now in the AFC West, and like everybody followed Russell Wilson. So it made that division greater that Russell Wilson got there, made it tougher, made it stronger. But it's going to be interesting to see Russell Wilson go against some of this defense that he now is going to be facing in this division. So interesting to see. And plus, like with that, the AFC West, I think that the 4 best quarterbacks are now there. But it's crazy because you can ask 10 people to put in order the best quarterbacks in the AFC West, you're going to get 10 different answers. And it's crazy that Russell Wilson is going to be somebody's 4th choice out of those quarterbacks. So that division is just so wide open. I love that there's not like the mediocrity there. I love that it could go either way there. But again, I just wish that the Broncos would have got him a little bit sooner. And I did not like Washington going against Wentz. I think that they probably had the worst quarterback move.
Yeah.
I kind of like Tyler. Yeah, I kind of like Heineke. I just think he needed like maybe a better offensive coordinator. I hate that they gave up on him so quickly. The
I
thing
think
about
he's better
Wentz,
than Carson Wentz, but I think they ain't gonna figure that out about game 3.
it's crazy because Wentz even went back to Frank Reich in Indy, and it still didn't work out. Like he reunited with the quarterback the year that
I don't know how many more times that people are gonna have to
crazy.
see. How many more chances is Carson Wentz gonna get before people see he's trash?
I never liked Carson Wentz.
Me
I was never
either.
sold on
I
Carson.
was never sold on him. From the
I
Eagles
was
to the
never sold
Colts
on
and if you go back, we both have receipts from when he was with the Eagles to the Colts to now. We got receipts saying he's not your guy. He's not good.
He's not. And I feel like Carson Wentz is a big reason why Doug Peterson is no longer with the Eagles. And it's like he looks very, very accurate. And you see what Doug Peterson got Jacksonville doing in free agency.
Because they got mad with Doug Peterson because the Eagles wanted to keep Wentz and they did not.
I know.
And I'm pretty certain that Miami is gonna find out the same thing this year.
I know. It's gonna be really it's gonna be crazy with that. I'm glad Winston is back with the Saints because I think people forgot like Winston was low-key balling with the Saints before he got hurt. And the Saints actually, when he went down, the defense got it together, and they were literally one game away from going to the playoffs. So now they can combine how strong the defense was down the stretch and a healthy Winston who was so strong early in the season. They could return to the postseason next year. I think that of course Drew Brees is unforgettable, but I feel like the Saints can kind of return to some of that prominence that Drew Brees instilled in the Saints as long as Winston stays healthy and that defense plays like they did. So I'm excited about that too. I totally agree, pretty much carbon copy with everything you said about Matt Ryan. Oh, and by the way, he's also playing with the best running back in the league. So that's very refreshing and congratulatory for Matt Ryan too. I saw a meme of Matt Ryan getting off the plane in a picture with his family that said, I ain't seen Matt Ryan smile this much since he was up by 25 points. So there's some shade there, but it's very true. Matt Ryan looks very, very happy. That blue look kind of cold on him too, like coming out of that black and red. That blue look real, real cold on Matt Ryan. Mm-hmm. It's literally gonna be Matty Ice with that blue. So happy for him. Not really a big fan of his per se, but I'm very happy for him because I think he deserved to get out of Atlanta. So good for him. And I don't have a comment on his replacement yet, Marcus Mariota. I don't know how he's going to do in Atlanta. I mean, he's got another chance to start. I think he deserves another chance to start, but I hope he don't mess it up.
With Atlanta rebuilding, I don't think there's much to say because they're in a full-on rebuild, and I think that they're going to try to draft a quarterback.
They probably will. This is a weak class to draft, though. And like you were saying about Matt Ryan with the Colts, there's a lot of good receivers, though. This is a strong receiving core class and lineman class. But yeah, quarterback, it is tough to look at with that. So, but we'll see. Definitely a heavy free agency period with quarterback. It was going down with the quarterbacks in free agency this offseason for sure. All right, so jumping to the third quarter, T Squared. Who do you think, like what team and or teams, who do you think is having the best free agency thus far as we go into weeks? We're heading into week 3 of it. But yeah, these past 2 weeks, who do you think is having the best free agency period?
All right, so overall, I got multiple teams that I feel like had a good free agency. But overall, the one team that I circled on my paper, and I said, they will win in spite of... ... who their coach is... You want to guess? You want to guess what I said? They will win in spite of... And I put their coach's name.
I'm trying to think what coach you might not like or that you feel like that about.
They will win in spite of ... And they made some serious moves this offseason in free
Oh,
agency.
I know who it is. The Raiders, in spite of Josh
Josh
McDaniels.
McDaniels. Right. That is exactly what I said. They will win in spite of Josh McDaniels because there is no way. The Raiders were already not a bad team.
Right.
But let me tell you, so now, in addition to my man Darian Waller, who is already a bad tight end, right? And then they got Hunter Renfrow still, right? They done added Devontae to that.
I know.
Then you done went and got Chandler Jones as the edge rusher. You done got Brandon Bolden to come out of the backfield along with Amir Abdullah, like to help Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
They will win in spite of Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, they're about to make him look really good.
They're gonna win in spite of. That's who I circle. So to me, they had the most impressive free agency. Now I will tell you, and this isn't me being biased either, I think that the Panthers did an excellent job in free agency too. Because I do, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because when I look at the Panthers, the biggest issue with the Panthers is everybody complained about their offensive line. And the offensive line was trash, right? But when I look at what they went and got in the free agency, they went and got Austin Corbett at guard from the Rams. They went and got Bozeman at center. These ain't no trash linemen neither.
Right.
They went and got them from the Ravens. Then, last year they had an issue with the punter and the kicker. Because remember, by the time, they had an issue because they ain't had no kicker one game, right? So what did they do? They said, well, we ain't going to just go get any punter. We're going to get a good punter. They went and got Heckler, who was the punter for the Rams last season, who's like a 6 or 7 time Pro Bowler. So, I mean, when I'm looking at stuff like that, they said, listen, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. So when I look at those kind of moves, they not only did they address need, but they got good pieces. So when I look at it from that perspective, I think they did a really good job in their free agency as well. I think that the Bengals got some offensive linemen to protect Joe Cool. That was good. And then I think that the Chargers are gonna have a lot to say too. The Chargers they added J.C. Jackson to their defense, Khalil Mack, and then they added Gerald Everett. And I like Gerald Everett. And then of course, Khalil Mack gonna do Khalil Mack things, and it's impossible for him to run. Listen to this. You got Khalil Mack and Joy Bosa on the same line. They gonna have problems.
Yeah, that's true.
So
it seems like to me though, like I mean, even with the better weather, it looks to me like Khalil don't want to be there. I like his body language and stuff. I think he want to go back to the Raiders because of everything that they did. I don't think Khalil want to be there.
We'll see. I think he'll still show up. And now rumor has it that it's possible that, or rumor is saying that Akeem Hicks may come and join Khalil Mack with the Chargers.
Wow, that would be dope.
And right. And then also another thing that I saw today which was crazy to me, is that that the Rams had just signed Bobby Wagner went to visit the Rams yesterday.
Okay.
So that's going to be interesting to see.
I was going to talk about him for overtime. Yeah.
So so that's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, that's my free agency, what I like. And of course, Watson, Amari Cooper, but we kind of already talked about that. But those are some splashes that I've seen that I've liked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Cool. I don't think that my team had the best free agency, but I just wanted to showcase him a little bit because this is one of the most aggressive and best free agencies we've had in a long time. We don't ever make moves in free agency. We don't ever make noise in free agency. And I don't know if it's because of the fact that being retired like forced us to make some moves in free agency, but we made a little bit of noise. We weren't silent or quiet because the thing is, the steak and potatoes for my Steelers is the draft. We draft well. Like, we get compensatory picks. We draft well. We have some drafts in our back, some picks in our back pocket, trade here, trade there. And that's how we build. We build our legacy and our players from the draft. But I was really proud of my boys for playing and flirting with free agency more than they ever have done so this year. I've never been a big fan of Mason Rudolph. Don't know Trubisky. There's some uncertainty with him, but I sleep better at night knowing that our depth chart is not just Mason Rudolph and Haskins. Like, I'm okay with Trubisky being on there and the fact that he has a chance to win it, because Mason Rudolph is the guy who is responsible for giving us a tie against Detroit when they didn't have no wins. So I don't like Mason Rudolph. I want him gone. So I appreciate us going out and making a move with Trubisky. Thought we were going to get Watson again because of the Flores factor. Disappointed in that, but I'm not mad. I'm not pissed. And I wish Trubisky the best, and I hope he makes a difference from us. I'm definitely rooting for him. So I like that we did that. And like you were saying about him coming behind Josh Allen, that's definitely I mean, a lot of the thing is, he had to get out of Buffalo. He was never going to start unless Josh Allen moved on or got hurt. So, because Josh Allen was just that good of a quarterback, there was never a quarterback controversy there. So I do appreciate the fact that he was studying and learning behind Allen. I think that'll pay off in dividends. So I like it. I like that we went and got Miles Jack for kind of cheap, because I actually thought we were going to get rid of Devin Bush, because Devin Bush is not panning out the way I thought he was. But now I'm kind of happy that we got Miles Jack, not so much as a threat to Devin Bush, but as an addition, as a helper. And Miles Jack has embraced it. And Devin Bush has embraced it because Miles Jack is there as a veteran and wants to help him. He spoke very highly of Devin Bush. So it looks like they're going to have some camaraderie instead. Hold on, like a joint collaboration instead of a competition. So I do like that. And yeah, I was definitely impressed. The one that gets the A+ for me is definitely the Raiders. Reuniting Devontae Adams with Carr, the magic that they had in college. I like that. Definitely some magical times. They went out and signed your former defensive tackle, Vernon Butler, Chandler Jones. And other thing that's crazy is the Raiders, he's a big fan of the Raiders, NBA superstar Damian Lillard. He's actually trying to recruit Honey Badger to come join the Raiders. I want Honey Badger either with us or I think he'd do well with Dallas. But the Raiders are a sexy pick. Very dangerous city, so be careful. You can get a lot of trouble out there. But just based solely off the moves that the Raiders made, I would understand why Honey Badger went there, and then of course the endorsement from Lillard. I wouldn't be mad. But yeah, I think the thing is, the Raiders probably also try to make such a big deal with this free agency because they're trying to move past the Henry Ruggs scandals and the John Gruden scandals and everything, all the other players that got in trouble last year. I think they want to just wipe the slate clean and make people kind of forget about all of that. So I think they went in head first and for the jugular with free agency as well. They had a great free agency piece. They get an A+ from me. What'd you have on that?
Oh, nothing. Nothing. You good.
Oh, you want to add to that? I thought you had your
Oh,
hand up.
no, the only thing I was gonna say was about the whole Devin Bush is that I think you're right. I think Miles Jack will help Devin Bush, because I don't know if you remember this, but I remember last year at the beginning of the season when Bud Dupree went to Tennessee, I told you that Devin Bush would be a non-factor because they played in a tandem. And so you wouldn't see him anymore. And so now that Miles Jack is there, you'll probably hear Devin Bush's name more because he's doing so he can hone in on one thing or two things more as opposed to doing everything, if that makes sense. And so I kind of told you that last season I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of goes silent, because it's impossible to be great at one thing or two things if you're all over the place. And that's typically what happens, which was why we were like, the Bud Dupree thing was going to hit heavy. And so the Miles Jack signing for you guys is a big thing.
Yeah. Happy for Devin Bush with that. He still ain't played as well as he needs to, because we moved up in the draft to get him. And that hasn't been an equal trade for that. So but hopefully this will put him back in the, and of course I know he's been injured too, but hopefully, yeah, the Miles Jack addition will put him back where he needs to be. All right, so concluding with the fourth quarter, on the flip side of the third quarter, what teams have done the worst or the least in free agency, whether it be salary cap issues, front office issues, touchdown tomboy, who's got it bad in free agency period, like Usher?
I picked 4 teams who were bad. I say the Cowboys. The Cowboys have gave away Amari Cooper. They lost. They were already. They gave away Amari Cooper. They gave away Gregory. They gave away Wilson. Then they gave away, they already struggled with Dak with a good offensive line. Then they gave away Lael Collins from the offensive line, and they gave away Wilson from the offensive line. So, yeah, Dallas is going to be on the struggle bus next year, dog.
They are.
The Ravens, they have not re-signed anybody. Like, they have not re-signed anybody, and they've given their offensive line already was struggling too. And then they gave away 2 offensive linemen. They gave away their center. You don't ever give away the center once they develop continuity with the quarterback. Like, are you crazy? But thank you, because Bradley Bozeman is now with the Carolina Panthers. Thank you, because we need one. And he's only had like I think they said he's only had like 3 sacks last season. So you should have kept him. But hey, ain't none of my business. We needed him. Anyway, and then they gave up Villanueva. So I'm like, what? And they haven't re-signed anybody. What are the Ravens doing?
Villanueva retired, right?
Who?
Did Villanueva retire?
I don't know if he retired or not, but I know he's no longer there.
Oh wow, I thought he retired, but maybe it's okay.
Well, I know he ain't with nobody. He might have retired. I don't know, but I know he's no longer there. I put it in. I know that much. And then they haven't re-signed any of their current players yet. So like no Justin Houston, none of those guys. So yeah. And then the Packers, what are y'all doing? Like, you gave Aaron Rodgers all this money for what? To get rid of your defense was already on struggle.
Right.
You gave away the 2 best defensive pieces that you had was the Smith brothers. You gave them away. Ladarius, whatever, one of them, he gone.
Yes, Ladarius. I think he went to Minnesota, I believe.
Right. And then you gave away your 2 best receivers, because I was just saying, well, maybe Aaron might be okay because he still got Valdez-Scantling. And guess what? He went to the Chiefs today.
Yeah.
So who he throwing to? Yeah. So he got paid a lot of money, but your continuity is gone to the Raiders. I don't know what they doing over there. And then Washington Commanders. You mean to tell me that y'all hate Cam Newton that bad that y'all went and signed Carson Wentz? That's what I'm gonna say. Y'all hate him that bad that y'all went and signed Carson Wentz. Because I think he probably would have given y'all more production than he will. So, but maybe that's just because I don't really like Carson Wentz. I think he sucks.
Right.
And maybe they would play the same, but I think you at least would have had a little bit more hope because Cam already knows that system. So, yeah, I think you would have had a little bit more hope. But yeah, that sucks. Carson Wentz is not good. Matter of fact, you could have just kept Taylor Heineke. Let him play another season. Carson Wentz is not your guy. He ain't your guy. And I don't know how many more teams got to go and trade for Carson Wentz to figure out he ain't our guy. He needs to be sitting on the sideline somewhere because he's not good. Not good. So those are the teams that I said I don't know what they're doing in free agency.
Gotcha. I didn't necessarily want to use the word bad, but I definitely there's 3 teams I kind of side-eyed with free agency, and it's only because of quarterback concerns. And it's because this was such a quarterback heavy free agency period. People were just kind of, it was like a big ping pong session with stuff with quarterback. And there's 3 teams that I really thought should have either done something differently or got a little bit more aggressive in doing so. The first one being the Texans. I mean, you lost both of your quarterbacks. Tyrod Taylor, now the backup for the Giants, and then Deshaun Watson, of course, gone to Cleveland. And this is like really, really bad timing with this because you're going into a new coaching era with Lovie Smith, and it looks like you're setting him up. And plus, he's a defensive guy. The least you can do is give the guy a good quarterback. Like if you like, he comes from a defensive background, so why not at least have the offense in better and good shape and good hands? With Lovie Smith kind of leaning more on the defensive side of the ball. So I give them a question mark strictly again because of the quarterback position. And I know your Panthers made all those moves with the line and stuff, but I thought that you wouldn't have picked them only because like there's still the uncertainty of the quarterback. Like I know they got into the Deshaun Watson. Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna help you with that. Nobody wanted to come there. They tried to get multiple quarterbacks. We're not getting no quarterback until they fire Matt Rule I'm guessing by the bye time because nobody wanted to come there. They tried with multiple quarterbacks. Trust me, I'm all over that. Yeah, they have tried with multiple quarterbacks and nobody wanted to come to Carolina. And I can't blame them because you got Matt Rule who is all over the place. And I think that the organization, and then that's the other thing too, it's kind of like when you had Cam Newton come on and like, yo, indirectly say this locker room is toxic, they not gonna go against that. So I don't think it's gonna be fixed until they either draft somebody or Matt Rule is gone. And I'm guesstimating he'll be gone by then.
But the thing is also that this is not a good class to draft quarterbacks. But also, so Carolina made the moves that they needed to make at the offensive line. But then also, you know, there's so much talk with what's going to happen with Christian McCaffrey. So it's like, because they could go left at any time. So that's why I was kind of like, I thought maybe Carolina would have tried to at least, they got a three-headed monster situation here at quarterback. So I kind of thought that maybe they would have tried to at least put some resolve on that because you also have question marks with what's going to happen with your running back position. I know they went and got Friedel, which is a great move, but is that because to compensate because you might lose McCaffrey? Or you're going to trade him or what? So I just wish not even necessarily if they would have drafted or traded for quarterback, but just more so what are you going to do at quarterback? Are you having all three of these guys audition for starters? Or like the fact that you didn't even re-sign or release Cam? Like, so is he still on the team? What are you going to do? So I'm just saying it's not even so much about them trading for them or getting Deshaun Watson or anything like that. It's still just a big, huge question mark lingering about what the Panthers are going to do at quarterback. And I'm like, can y'all decide? Can y'all do something? Because everybody else in the quarterback sweepstakes made some moves and made some stuff happen.
I think that with the $18 million that they owe Sam, they gonna go out there and let Sam rot, which is what they should do because they already owe it to him. And then just wait it out because there's some decent quarterbacks come out next year, which is really what I think they're going to do. They're going to let that offensive line develop continuity, and they're going to let Sam rot while they learning it and getting the offensive line together, and they're going to draft next year. That's why I don't think they've made any moves. If they couldn't get Deshaun, who is what they wanted, they weren't going to go second class. I think they've just decided, well, we're going to go either they're going to draft in this class, maybe down the line, either trade back or draft in this class and let them sit. But I don't think that they were ever anticipating to make any big splashes at quarterback until next year.
But still, like I said, what are you going to do with Cam? He's still lingering. Are you going to resign him or are you going to release him?
Now, that I don't know.
That's what I mean. Like, there's nothing coming out of the quarterback where everybody else is diving in or showing their hand or doing something. Carolina's just out of the quarterback being here with all the activity going on in quarterback. I'm like, why ain't Carolina playing? I don't know. And then the other, like, I agree with you with Washington. Like, I really hated what they did at quarterback with everything else that's going on. Because the big thing about what they did with the quarterback position with Wentz, the Colts were going to release him in like 2 or 3 days before you went and traded for him anyway. I just thought that was so stupid that they gave up 2 draft picks for a Carson Wentz that we know is no good. He was about to get released. Had you waited instead of pulling the trigger and you gave up not 1, but 2 draft picks to get this guy, it was totally worthless. So I thought that what Washington did with the quarterback position was trash too. Honorable mention, I'll probably go with the Chicago Bears. No more Khalil Mack. Tariq Cohen is gone. They were supposed to got the lineman from Cincinnati. He from North Carolina. Guy's name won't come across my mind right now, but he couldn't even pass his physical. So I feel like this is the era now. What you call it? Your boy, the new GM, Ryan Poles. oh yeah, we about to be aggressive and we gonna make all these moves, we gonna make all this noise, because he replaced the other GM. They got fired with Matt Nagy, and Ryan Poles hasn't done anything. So I'm looking at you sideways, because I'm feeling like you about to set Justin Fields up too. You already got him a raggedy coach. He needed an offensive guru, and you ain't got a defensive coach, which I know that's what Chicago focuses on, is defensive coaches. But you should at least give him a stronger offensive coordinator or something. So I do not like the direction the Chicago Bears are going either. I think that they're having a very weak free agency period as well. All right, so for overtime, there are still some marquee names remaining in free agency. T Square, who are the best ones remaining, and where are the perfect fits for them?
I would say Julio should go to the Colts. Link back up with Matt Ryan. I would say Calais Campbell should go to the Raiders. I would say Dwayne Brown should go to the Panthers. And I know that you said that Tyrann Mathieu should go to the Raiders because Damian Lillard, but I say he should go to the Panthers because I really want him to play free safety so that they can move Jeremy Chin back up, because he's better, he's more effective up playing sideline to sideline with Shaq.
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, I don't think that he should go to the Raiders because of that. I just mean it's like it's the sexy, based off of everything the Raiders has done, and the fact that they got the endorsement from Lillard, who could be convincing. I don't know. He could go to Carolina. I think that your evaluation of it is great. I mean, I would like for him to come to the Steelers. I think he should go to Dallas too. Any of them. There's literally about 15 teams that he could go and be straight at. The guy still got something to say. He's a Super Bowl champion. Yeah, any of them. But now that you brought up the evaluation that you did for Carolina, I think he'd be dope there too. Odell, I know he talked about going to Cleveland and Florida with it, but you need to stay hotel right there in LA.
I would stay in LA too.
Yeah, you need to stay there. He proved his point between that Odell versus Baker Mayfield. Okay, so we all know that Baker Mayfield.
But don't go back. I'm with you on that. Don't go back.
I mean, I know Deshaun is there and everything is possibly the quarterback, but also Odell just had a baby. Like, don't uproot it. Like, you got some stability there. The fans love you. You helped get them to the Super Bowl. You helped them win the Super Bowl, even though you went out. They've embraced you. Robert Woods is gone. He's with Tennessee now. There's a spot for you there. Don't entertain anybody else. Don't flirt with anything else. You got a great quarterback in Matt Stafford, a good coach in Sean McVay. The weather's better. I don't know. Just Odell.
Cooper Kupp got a thing going on.
Yeah. Just stay put. Just stay put. You proved that Baker Mayfield was crazy, even though Baker Mayfield also did good when Odell was hurt in Cleveland. So maybe it's just y'all just going to match made, but stay there, stay put. Seriously. And yeah, Bobby Wagner, before you said that about the Rams, I didn't know he met with the Rams, but I was thinking the Rams or Cowboys. The Cowboys need something. I think I keep putting Cowboys on people because I feel sorry for them at this point. This is America's team, and they're looking like America's nightmare right now. Like, seriously, no. What y'all gave Dak all that money, and you see what Gregory don't come out and said. Like, he done threw Dak under the bus. Like, bruh.
Hold on, wait. I missed it. What did he say?
No, he basically, Dak is the reason why we lost the playoff game. Basically, pretty much. And then, who was it that said Dak was I think it was Amari Cooper that said Dak is the white Kirk Cousins?
Oh, he did say that. I saw that one.
So everybody's talking about Dak the issue, and he's the one that's got all the money. You see everybody hauling ass up out of Dallas there too. So I don't know. I feel sorry for Dallas. Also, like, even though that division is wide open each and every time, you're supposed to be America's team. You already ain't been to a Super Bowl since '96. So you want to try to get better and try to get that stench off of you, but you're going the wrong way. I don't know.
But if you don't think that those comments by those people ain't gonna be playing in Jerry Jones' mind, don't be surprised if you don't see some moves or some restructuring or they figure out how to move on from that. Because I'm telling you, that done put an impression in Jerry Jones' head. And now Jerry
Yeah.
Jones gonna be watching every move that Dak
Oh, yeah.
makes and say, oh yeah, Dak, you are the problem. You're dismissed.
But in Dak's defense, we saw the Cowboys go like 4-12 or 5-11 or something when he got hurt. But I just feel like they gave too much money for him, too much of a sacrifice, and now you're going to end up being stuck and can't do anything. You're going to be spinning your tires in mud.
Well,
That part
well, in a sense though, Amari Cooper got a point because somehow Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins get paid more than quarterbacks that are balling.
Exactly. But yeah, definitely go check out Gregory's comments. He was more in depth. He called out a couple of specific plays that the defense made. And then he was like, the next thing you know, we're back out on defense, basically saying Dak is the reason why we lost that playoff game against 49ers. So, and you see, he said he was going back to Dallas, and he's like, nope, I changed my mind, and this is why. It's because of Dak. I'm out. So, yeah. But yeah, definitely take a look at it. It's some tea.
Oh, I gotta go Google that one because I missed that one. And I've been, you know what, it's been so much going on in this free agency, though, so it's kind of hard to not miss stuff because it's been so much happening.
It has been a lot. It has been a lot.
Girl,
No doubt.
Girl, it's been a lot. I was like, this has been the most active free agency I've seen in a long time.
And I feel like I say that every year, but now this is it. And
this one was it.
This I've never seen so much going with the quarterback position ever. Nope, never. Not at quarterback. I was switching, and about half the quarterbacks have changed. Out of 32 teams, about half of them have changed. That's a lot. So
there's been a lot of splash changes too. Like quarterbacks that were staples to organizations have moved to other places. So like that to me is like, woo, that's very telling.
Very much so.
That is very crazy, but yeah, it's crazy. March Madness, girl, it's too much going on. March Madness tonight. The NBA is getting down to the nitty gritty, girl.
Right, playoffs start there next month.
Girl, yeah, I watch Memphis put on a show last night with the Nets, man.
Crazy.
And Ja didn't even get to play, and the boys put on a show. You heard me? Let me tell you something. I was at work like this. I gotta go. Oh, my bad. Anyway, girl, let me tell y'all something. We might have to start a whole nother show when we talk basketball too, because y'all.
Actually, I got a text about that. I'll have to screenshot you. Yeah. Al Mosley actually texted and said, maybe we can do it for playoffs. Maybe we can do it for playoffs.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something. I didn't watch so many sports. Y'all, my husband is fussing at me because I told him I wasn't going to watch no more sports, but I done got sucked into something else. But anyway, y'all have a good week. And we are signing off. We will see y'all next time.
Absolutely. So we got draft coming up, NFL draft coming up next month. So probably resume then. Touchdown Tomboy, Gridiron Goddess, WTF 2, Women Talk Football 2. We're out.